Hello, Miss Mazura and my fellow PR classmates. My name is Beulah Pravina. I am doing my second year degree now and I major in broadcasting while I minor in public relations. I am going to talk about the importance of theories in public relations. First and foremost, I am going to elaborate about public relations in the terms of academic definition and practitioner's definition. According to Grunig and Hunt in 1984, PR was defined as the management of communication between an organization and its publics. This was later refined as an organization's managed communications behavior in the 1997. Meanwhile, PR practitioners defined public relation based on the day-to-day job. I have chosen two theories among the others, which is the elaboration, likelihood model, and situational theory. Okay, elaboration likelihood model is produced by Richard E. Patty and John T. Cacioppo in 1980s. The elaboration likelihood model attempts to explain how attitudes are shaped, formed, and reinforced by persuasive arguments. The basic idea is that when someone is presented with information, some level of elaboration occurs. Elaboration in this context means the effort someone makes to evaluate, remember, and accept or reject a message. The elaboration likelihood model suggests that every last message is experiencing the procedure of influence in two distinctive ways. They are called the central route and the peripheral route. Them two are compelling influence techniques, but each of them has its own directing procedures to make them more agent. Here is an example that I'm going to show you, which is the comparison of central route processing and peripheral route processing. Now, for central route processing, the elaboration is high while it is low for the peripheral route processing. The information processing in central route processing is contents of message are closely examined by the receiver, while in peripheral route processing, receiver is influenced by factors other than the contents of message. The attitude in central route processing will be a change or be reinforced based on message characteristics such as strength of argument and relevancy, while in peripheral route processing, it might change or be reinforced based on the effectiveness of factors other than the message. Finally, the strength of attitude formed or reinforced for central route processing is more enduring and less subject to counter-arguments, while in peripheral route processing, it is less enduring and subject to change through future persuasive message. Central route processing means your audience cares more about the message. They'll pay more attention and synchronize the quality and strength of the argument. Any attitudes formed or reinforced this way are thought to be more enduring and resistant to counter-arguments. Now, in peripheral route processing, it happens on a more superficial level. Your audience will pay less attention to the message itself while being influenced by secondary factors such as source carryability, visual appeal, presentation, and enticements like food, sex, and humor. Attitudes formed or reinforced this way are thought to be less enduring, subject to change through counter-arguments, and in need of continual reinforcement. In conclusion, for this elaboration likelihood model is designing for both parts for the elaboration likelihood model isn't just good in theory, it's good in practice. This purposeful incorporation of persuasion will bring a new level of effectiveness to your craft. eventually enabling you to move your audience to process your messages through the central route, the sign of a truly persuasive design. Well, now I would like to move on in explaining about the situational theory. The situational theory of publics was produced by J. E. Grunig in the 1968. Alright, so there are particular variables that decide a man's consideration into one of four publics. These three variables are issue acknowledgement, requirement acknowledgement, and level of association. By comprehension a man's relationship with every variable, advertising experts can arrange that individual into one of the four publics. Each of the four publics has an alternate method for social affair data around a circumstance. The publics additionally have an alternate reaction to a circumstance after they handle the data, which was quoted by Eldori in the 2010. After grouping, experts can build a system to convey a message to their gathering of people in the best route in the light of the crowd's expected conduct. Now I am going to talk about the applications in the situational theory. After dividing people into four publics, public relations people can decide how they want to communicate with each public. Each group will receive and process messages differently, so each group must be targeted in different ways. Passive public needs information put in front of them and must be given reasons to participate in some situation or problem. If a public relations professional is looking to communicate about a product, they might need to turn a passive public into an active public by persuading them that there is a problem by not owning the product. Or they may need to inform an active public how to acquire the product and that there are not many obstacles standing in their way from getting it. Now, the examples used in the situational theory is a research which was conducted by Anne Mary Major about how people respond to disaster predictions. She used earthquake emergency alerts as an example to understand how people respond differently to messages. Some people would listen to warnings about an earthquake, and others would be skeptical of the prediction. There was not one uniform reaction to this message. She was able to define the four publics and their pre-existing attitudes about being prepared for an earthquake. She states, situational theory demonstrates that there is not a single generic public response to a disaster predictions as has been previously assumed in studies of disaster response, which was quoted in 1988 by Major. This study is one example of a situation where knowing the four publics would be useful. In conclusion, for situational theory of publics is a valuable hypothesis for advertising experts have. By measuring the three variables among people advertising, experts can put each person inside one of four gatherings. By recognizing what kind of individuals are well on the way to be in what bunch, advertising experts can then art a message to propel or illuminate that gathering of individuals. Since advertising experts ought to speak with the most particular gathering of individuals, they can discover the situational hypothesis of publics is a helpful device to utilize. Thank you for listening. So this is all about the elaboration likelihood model and the situational theory. Signing off, Beulah Pravina. Bye-bye.